slipped away in a city where A8 ain't the standard of grade. Fans sitting back like bro, it burst, but deep down hoping you reverse the curse. Locker room listening, playbook flipped. Players not like this might be legit. Changing the tone, setting the pace. But can you win when the whole world's in your face? Shot it, all eyes on you to fix what's broken. Shot it, lead the star, keep this promise unspoken. You got the reins, our biggest name. Now light that fire, win the game. Shot it, it's your time to stake your claim. Jerry's in the box, fans on the thread. Cowboys nation living in what's been said. New culture, new voice, we've heard it before, but maybe this time it's something more. No more safe plays, no more stalls. Just grit on the field and guts in the calls. It ain't easy wearing this crown. One wrong move, the world tears you down. Shot it, all eyes on you to fix what's broken. Shot it, lead the star, keep this promise unspoken. You got the reins of the biggest name. Now light that fire, won the game. Shot it, it's your time to stake your claim.
This ain't just a team, it's a symbol. It's Sunday nights and Thanksgiving games. It's 5 rings in the vault and 30 years of waiting for number 6.
Shot it, turn the doubt into flames that burn. Shot it, get this franchise its long.
Oh my God.
Chasing greatness, not just cheer. Shot it, let your moment make it clear the stars still shining.
Question is, will you?
Oh man. Oh shoddy, oh shoddy. Shoddy. What are we gonna do with you, Shoddy? Brian Schottenheimer has me rethinking everything. Yes. Brian Schottenheimer. Again, let's not get caught up with the wins and losses of the preseason. But before that, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're watching this video. It is morning here. Game Time Brian, otherwise known as the Mailman. Yes, we are off for a few days. I am going to give my recap of the Cowboy game from last night. Better than the first game. Again, just keep the overall score out. I think in areas that matter, better than the first game. But that's not what is on my mind to start this video. Brian Schottenheimer is now, again, I'm not saying he can't do the job, won't do the job. I don't like where the direction of this team is being led, okay? Being led. And I believe that he is in a quandary dealing with the Joneses. And I don't know. We got to hope that he does the right thing, okay? This is beyond a preseason game to me. This is the way that the Cowboys have done business in recent years regarding their backup quarterback, one Joe Milton. Here's my main problem with this, okay? My main issue with the Dallas Cowboys right now, they're using the preseason to focus on one player's development, meaning Joe Milton. They're using the preseason to focus on Joe Milton's development when either you have it or you do not have it. If you're trying to teach the quarterback position at this stage, you are not a backup in the NFL. Okay? So you're telling me Will Greer is the backup. Didn't we just see this show last year where we focused on Trey Lance? The Cooper Rush, who had a decent game against us yesterday, didn't get any work. And then with that, Prescott tore his hamstring off the bone. We were left with, go get him, Cooper. Mister, I had got no reps throughout training camp. Brian Schottenheimer, stop worrying about it. It's a no-brainer. They should have drafted Shedeur Sanders in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I don't care what anybody says. He went to the 5th to the Cleveland Browns. We could have drafted him in the 4th. We gave up a 4th for Jonathan Mingo, right? We gave up a 4th for Jonathan Mingo, who's probably going to be lost for the season. More to come on that in the ensuing days with a PCL injury. Some people had him as he was no better than our 4th receiver. Let's be clear here, in the words of Mark Holmes. Let's be clear. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Kevontae Turpin, Jalen Tolbert. And Tolbert can go ahead of Turpin and vice versa. But you get the point, right? I'm itchy. This team makes me itch. You get the point. I hate to see it. That's player number 2. No excuses. We're not making excuses. He wasn't, to me, ready. I don't know what we have. That's the issue. I don't know what we have because we can't get to the running game because the quarterback is ineffective in everything that he does. All right? Instead of trading a 4th-round pick for Joe Milton, you should have just drafted Shedeur Sanders. And he could have been the heir apparent behind Dak going forward. And if Dak gets hurt, you got a young, spry guy who looked like the game is not too big for him. Like Joe Milton is thinking, locking in on receivers. He's not a backup quarterback now. Okay? I mean, I think the answer to the Cowboys is stop trying to force a Dak offense down Joe Milton. Right? Do something different. There was many times yesterday where he was rolling out. He should have ran the football. That's what a quarterback with his athletic ability, who's going to inflict the damage more than take the damage just based on his size alone. That's my issue. Why are we focusing on one player and to hell with finding out our receiver depth, finding out the running backs, okay? This team fundamentally is flawed how they do business. And I blame Will McClay. Everybody's giving him a pass. I'm not giving him a pass. Sorry, Will. Why are we allowing this? Why are we allowing this? The backup quarterback is not on this team. If that gets hurt, you're looking at a 5-win season, maybe. If that stays healthy, 9, tops, maybe 10. They're not making the playoffs based on what I'm seeing here, but I'm not here to poo-poo it. Things can turn around. Things can change. They can. They have talent. They do have some talent, okay? The offensive line played better. We'll get into that. I want to hear Brian Schottenheimer because I haven't listened to this. Last night I watched the game. I watched UFC 319, fell asleep, woke up, watched the rest of 319. So I'm just now seeing this. So I'm going to do it with you guys. Brian Schottenheimer.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. How concerned are you about Joe Milton right now?
I wouldn't say I'm
Big
concerned.
time.
I mean, again,
Don't lie.
we didn't get into rhythm offensively. It's, what we did in the first half against the Rams. I think came out with a little.
Sorry, let me set the table. 31-13 Ravens. I don't care about the score. 31-13 Ravens. Dallas was fine, in my opinion, when they actually played guys who were going to play when the season starts for the most part. As soon as they went to backups, we'll talk about it. Let's hear Shotty first.
A little bit of a different mindset in terms of trying to run the ball. They got him. They fooled him a little bit on the safety on the third down there. We're trying to get the ball out of his hand fast, and they showed down one side, Calvin, and brought the blitz from the other side, and it just spooked him, and he's got to try to throw that ball away. His feet were kind of talking to him, but it wasn't just Joe. I mean, we got to be able to run the ball better. Got to take care of the football. He throws the ball with a lot of tempo. I thought Hunter had a ball. He could have made a catch on the over. And again, you hit a couple of those things and it gets you going. Sometimes, you need somebody to help you make a play. And I don't think we did a great job of that. I just told the guys, I said, hey, the bottom line is this, we're not going to say that that's just a preseason game. We're not just going to say, oh, we'll be fine. We're going to look at it because the fact that, we really lost both halves. that is something that we have to get corrected. There's too many good football players, too many good coaches for us to perform the way that we did tonight. So we'll look at the film. We'll find out the things that we did well. There'll certainly be a ton of corrections that we have to make, and we'll dive in first thing in the morning.
Before we broke camp, you said, I don't have a backup. After seeing Joe for 2 weeks, and you got one left, do you still feel that way? Or
yeah, again, I feel like I don't have to decide anything today. We going to keep letting these guys practice.
Is it me, or does he look like he's in shock a little bit? Again, I'm going to get to it. I don't want to make this a ridiculously long video. I'm going to get to it. They're focusing too much on the element of surprise early on in the season, right? You saw it yesterday. Dallas when they would pull out some of the guys who are going to actually play on Sundays in the NFL, obviously barring injury. Marshawn Nealon started. You saw them be able to stop the run in the backfield. You saw that as soon as Marshawn came out. I haven't seen enough from Easy from me, but I know what's going on. Again, they're trying to be too bland. I'm not saying they're going to be this dynamic defense, but they're trying to be too bland. They're trying the element of surprise. I got news for you. We all know what the Eagles are going to do. Stop it. You can't. We all know that the tush push is coming. Stop it. You can't. We all knew what the 90s Cowboys teams were going to run. They ran 4 or 5 plays. Stop it. They couldn't. Just be good at it. All right? There are two where we dealt with this the same way we dealt with it at the beginning of the McCarthy era. The element of surprise. How did that work out? Stop worrying about surprising and going vanilla and perfect your craft. All right? Matt Eberflus, you saw it. He was getting pissed. He didn't run anything exotic. He ran a couple stunts. What happened? They got to the quarterback. You got one unlucky call where the guy hit the quarterback high. Again, don't look at the final score. They were in the game in the third quarter. It was fine. I liked a lot. And we're going to pick, I did like a lot of what I saw, but it had nothing to do with the quarterback. I'm talking in the trenches and stuff. We'll talk about that on my closeout. But he looks like a deer in the headlights. You want to talk about Dak on the sideline in the playoffs? Look at Brian Schottenheimer. He's shocked right now. He talks about crying. Yeah, before the first preseason game, looked like it. When they, with the play calling. Sorry, brother. I mean, I love your father.
Gleam, man.
There's a gleam.
There's a gleam. Let's get the gleam, all right?
Let's get the gleam back. Let's get the gleam back. Shotty, come on, man. Let's snap out of it. Let's snap out of it. Again, I'm counting on you not to be like your owner. I'm counting on you to adapt and overcome and deal with these problems as they arise. Mingo, probably gone for the year. What does that do? Well, that helps a lot as far as making your decisions easier. It sucks for the player. It sucks for the team. But as far as making your decisions easier, now you're down to, I already see what they're doing. I already see what they're doing with Trayshawn Holdings. They're not putting him in the game. They're not giving him a lot of run, hoping that he could slide through. They're going to cut Trayshawn Holdings. You can bet your bottom dollar. Okay, you got Jalen Brooks, who I like, who plays special teams. I think Flournoy should be gone, in my opinion. That's just me. But anyway, let's listen to more Shoddy. But he looks a little deer in the headlights right now.
Just told the guys get ready because, the couple practices this week are going to be really physical, and we have to. But it's like all these position battles. We don't have to decide anything now. I think, like with the receivers, we were trying to get a good look at a couple of those guys that were fighting for those spots. And I thought a couple guys stepped up and did a nice job. Cuts. I thought, Flournoy had a couple nice catches. Mingo made a great catch down the boundary. And then, I felt like we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with penalties when we would get some momentum. And so we got to be cleaner.
Clarence Hill, DLS Cowboys. Company, you got off to a slow start again, and that's something you're not doing as well. It's not just not having plays, but you're not getting first down, which contributes to that. And why are you not concerned with the backup quarterback, Joe Milton's play, whatever, when opposite side of the field you got a guy, Cooper Rush, who's won games here and it shows you what you want in a backup quarterback. Do you know these guys can win games? Something had to happen to Dak Prescott?
Yeah, I think we have. I think we have to believe that. I think we do believe that. I think again when you put a game plan together for these guys, and whether you're playing with Joe or you're playing with Will, you're going to have a plan of how you want to play. Hey, look, Cooper Rush has played in this league for a long time. What he did tonight, it didn't surprise anybody in the first half. I mean, I've seen him do that for the last 3 years, and so Joe Milton's in year 2. And so again, I'm not panicked. Again, it's not just them. It's us as coaches. It's the other players. It's all that. But the biggest thing for me is, again, we just, we have to balance up the time of possession. We had the defense out there for over 40 minutes. That's too long. Well, why is that? Well, we weren't very good on third down, and we got to be better on third down. And they had a couple of wrinkles in the blitz game that we need to handle a little bit better. But for the most part, it's just really us executing, or tonight not executing.
When you said that he should have thrown the ball, you were talking about the interception, or you were talking about the sack safety?
Ask it again.
When you said he should have thrown it away?
Yeah, so we were backed up. We had the negative play, so we called a quick answer. They showed down, and his feet were he was holding on the slant. We were trying to throw a little flat slant combination, and they had 2 free runners, so that was on him. Should have thrown away, yeah, and that's and again, like every opportunity you get when he comes over, you're teaching, you're coaching, and you're saying, hey, they showed down, they brought the pressure over here, and you're not going to yell and you're not going to scream, you're going to just teach. And the thing I love about Joe is when you talk to him, he's like, you're right, they got us with a cover 0, late in the game, and he was trying to do right,
though,
and
brother.
Made a call, and there's a couple of things he probably could have done a little different.
Brian Todd Archer of the ESPN, you said you want to be a physical team on both.
Here's my thing. Listen, Brian Schottenheimer's coached in this league for a long time. What I would tell Joe Milton, if in doubt, run. Early Dak Prescott, he didn't have all the answers, right? But he was at his best. He wasn't the most accurate Dak. He got his accuracy over the years. He started out, remember, he was better on the run, on the move. Well, that's what Joe Milton is. He's got a cannon. When he could, this is 2 preseason games, and he's completed balls for over 60 yards down the field. Dude's got a cannon. It's when he's thinking, and he's made to think. The best thing to do with a quarterback like that is get him out, get him on the move, get him sweating a little bit. It's like a boxer or a UFC fighter in the back, and he comes out dry. You got to come out lubed up, pause. You got to come out ready to go, like with a little sweat dripping. You got to come out. Get Joe Milton on the move. Let him take a couple hits. He's a big boy. He's going to inflict more than he's going to take it. Be smart about it. That's the only real way to get that out of out of a system, in my opinion. Again, they're being too vanilla in their blocking schemes everywhere, whether it's on the defensive line or the offensive line. They're not trying to show anything. I get it, but how are you going to perfect it in a game when you're not running anything? That's my issue. Now, again, people need to back off of the, oh my God, the sky's falling. Yeah, it's not good, but when you have most of your talent, 99% of your talent on the sideline, and you're just playing vanilla against teams who are actually running games and schemes, good luck in this league. Good luck. I expect, again, if I was Eberflus, I would be friggin' not happy based on the time of possession in that football game, especially in the first half. You got to help out my defense. And Eberflus, you got to run more stuff to get off the field, right? You got to help your offense. How are they going to evaluate running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers and offensive linemen if 3 and out? You ran 6 plays in the first quarter. It was ridiculous.
Both sides of the ball. Where do you think you guys, I know your regulars haven't played, but through 2 weeks, how would you assess what you've seen up front from your offensive and defensive line?
Yeah, I mean, I just addressed that with the guys. I mean, we're going to have some physical practices this week, Todd. We need to play more physical. I know we're more physical than that. Again, how do you do that? Well, you do that by having padded practices, and you do that by having your run drills and things like that.
Left. You keep having
we're
practices
not going to change who we are. We're not going to, sit there and say, okay, hey, well, we're not a physical team? I'm not ready to say that right now. I don't think that that's the answer. I think we're going to be a physical team, and I think we'll show that. But we have to practice that way. We have to have those in our practices.
Are you telling me you're not practicing that way?
And bring it into the games.
Second quarter, 4th and 1. You have BB and Booker in there, guys who will be starters for you. Yet you ran
Positive.
to the left, behind your, Nate Thomas, who makes.
Yeah, that ball's supposed to cut.
Good call. They had BB and Booker. Booker had a really good game. He had a better than average game. I was locked in on Booker. BB's BB. He's going to be fine in this league. They have the 2, and they run to the left. Mind you, Tyler Smith's not in, and the starting left tackle's not in, yet they're running to the left.
Back. It's an inside zone run play that's actually supposed to cut back behind the B block of Book and those guys. We got a little bit of penetration on the front side there. They were zeroed out. They were cover 0. The ball is supposed to cut back behind those guys. It's an inside zone play that should wrap back.
This is my issue. If they're cover 0, why not are we not audible? I guess we're not going to audible either in the preseason. If they're in a cover 0, throw a seam pattern to a tight end or something. You set yourself up to fail, and I'm a mailman from South Jersey. I don't understand why.
I know you probably have to look at some of the tape, but Booker's play overall.
Yeah, I thought, again, I didn't notice him as hard with some of the interior linemen. You guys probably saw it better than I did. But I will say I felt like some of the young guys played really well. I thought Shamar James played really, really well. Yes. I noticed him. Jesus. I think, like you said, Book, played good. I thought Damone, who's really not a young player, he seemed like he was flying all over the place. So
Damone Clark, we could talk about Damone. Damone Clark, number 18 for the Cowboys. I hate the number 1. Number 2, he's a practice beast and a game Cinderella. Like the clock always strikes midnight on this guy, and he's never a downhill player, like a rookie Shamar James. Either you have it or you don't. Stop focusing on Damone Clark. He had a couple plays, but he also had a couple plays where he was in the wrong gap and the run went. You have to identify it. Shamar James is so fast at identifying the gap and coming downhill. It's incredible. I'm cutting Damone Clark. So why we're making excuses for Damone Clark, I'll never know. I'm sorry. This guy's very frustrating. He made a couple plays. Okay, and we'll get into that.
There's always positives that come from this, and that's what I told the guys. I said, look, it's not good when you lose both halves. Really you should win at least a half in these preseason games, and disappointed that we didn't, but we're going to get back to work and look for solutions.
John Machado with The Athletic, you had several veteran players playing this game that didn't play in the first one. How do you just kind of generally go about figuring out why play, let's say, like Kyrie Elam and Jack Sanborn and not like Kenneth Murray? Yeah,
if they're younger players, you want to get them anywhere from 10 to 15 snaps is what you're thinking. Kyrie's new, Sanborn's, a younger player, where K9's played, a lot of football. So it's usually based off experience. And then for some of the guys, it's just, we want to get them out there and let them play a few snaps. Again, we let all of our guys go through pregame warmups. That was a big part of it for us. We wanted to get Dak and CD and all those guys, to go through the pregame warmups. We think that that's important. So the first time that they do it is not, in a regular season game, but it's a formula based on how much football they play.
Not rocket science.
And I don't know, the TV cameras kind of caught you where, probably reading too much in this, but it kind of looked like you were annoyed by the way that they're measuring with the sticks now, virtually or whatever. Does that have any impact on you, or do you think it will as you're calling the game and the time it takes?
Well, the technology is definitely different. It's new. It's on a watch now, which is unique. It sounds like it's, those type of issues are happening kind of around the league right now, but it's preseason. Just like the league office isn't going to panic that their system's not working. It's the preseason, just like we're not going to panic, and we're not pushing the panic button. We're pushing the work button, and that's what we're going to do. And we'll get in tomorrow and watch the film, make the corrections. We'll see some guys that probably separated themselves from a evaluation process, which is great for them. And we'll start to, build the week's plan.
Nick Harris, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. How much did your offensive reps have to change given the time of possession difference in the first half?
Well, again, the thing that I thought we would run the ball better, Nick. I really did. I thought we could run the ball a little bit better, give them some credit. They did a nice job. But really, you try not to press. I thought the defense did a really good job keeping the game to what.
Speaking of them doing a nice job, did you notice in the fourth quarter that the Ravens brought in a maybe it was middle of the third quarter. They brought in a defensive tackle. He's 6'7", 365 pounds. Okay, that's a deep bench guy. And what did he do? He held the line of scrimmage against. All right, second and third stringers. I get it. Why don't we have that guy? Why don't we have that guy? Again, this is what's annoying with this has been a blind spot forever. It's just very frustrating that you look at teams that are always good, maybe look and see what they're doing and see what's working and try and mimic it instead of thinking that you invented the game and doing it your way.
Whatever it was, I think, Booth's interception was awesome. It was so great to see him do that. It was a one-score game, I think, late in the second quarter. So there really wasn't much panic. But, we got a couple turnovers on defense, and then we turned it over on offense. We get the one sudden change, which we talked about this, all week in terms of can you gather that momentum. The defense gets the fumble, I think, right? And the very first play, we throw an interception. So those are things you can't do.
All right, I've had enough of Shoddy. I really have. I've had enough of Brian Schottenheimer. I want to get to the box score real quick before we get out of here. The final score was 31-13, okay? A Cooper Rush, 20 of 30, 198, one touchdown, 2 INTs. He wasn't great. Moved the ball better than Joe Milton. Joe Milton, 9 of 18 for 122 and an INT. He was sacked 2 times. It's not like he was under pressure the whole game. He was sacked twice. Again, we didn't get to the quarterback and sack them. We hit the Baltimore quarterback a lot, but we did not sack them. We ended up with 4 sacks for the game. Not horrible. Miles Sanders for the Dallas Cowboys, 7 carries, 15 yards, 2.1 yards a carry. Deuce Vaughn, 5 for 11, 2.2. Phil Maffa, 3 for 7. Again, didn't get much run. Again, we didn't have many plays in the first half. Jonathan Mingo, 1 catch for 49 yards. Oh, it was a 49-yarder. He ended up, I believe, tearing his PCL. He's going to be out for the season, I believe. Princeton Fant, 1 for 33. Again, you can't evaluate players. Jalen Brooks, 1 for 11. Jalen Tolbert, 1 for 2. You cannot evaluate players. They had 1 fumble lost and 1 INT for the Cowboys. Baltimore, Rasheen Ali, 19 for 62, 3.3 yards. That's not bad. Dearness Johnson, 11 for 61, 5.5 yards. Okay, that was in the second half. That's not good. Devontae Walker, 6 receptions for 61 yards. Anthony Miller, 4. It wasn't horrible. Again, what the problem is, if you look at the team stats, okay, you look at the team stats. Passing first down, or first downs in general for the whole game. Ravens 26, Dallas 7. 7 first downs. That's not going to get it done. Passing 14 for the Ravens, 5. Rushing 10 for the Ravens, 1 for the Cowboys. Third down efficiency, Dallas was 2 for 11. The Ravens were 8 for 17. It's just a tick under 50%. Great number. Fourth down, they were 1 for 1. We were 0 for 2. Total plays, get a load of this one. 79 to 47 in total plays. You can't evaluate your team if you're not winning the line of scrimmage. Again, sorry, Eberflus. Get your team off the field. Start running a little something. Eagles aren't a dumb team. They're going to be looking. What are you going to do week 1? You're going to have to show something. Total yards, 399 to 176. It was a drubbing. It was a drubbing. It was worse than I actually thought. Yeah, Dallas had the lead, 7-5. At halftime, they were losing 18-7, and that's where it was lost. 3-3 in the third quarter, and then they scored a Ravens a score 10 in the fourth. Cowboys 3, 31-13. Total yards, we said they both had 2 turnovers. That's the one bright spot. Dallas did get like a couple turnovers. First downs. Dallas had 7 first downs for the game. The Ravens had 26. Time of possession. This is ridiculous. 40-11 for the Ravens to 19-49. If you're actually saying that we're going to have the ball for less than 20 minutes and we only gave up that, that's pretty impressive. And that amount of yards, that's hard to do. That is hard to do. So, again, is it the end of the world? No, it's preseason. But alarms, bells are going off with Joe Milton. If I had it to do over again, I would not have traded a 4th-round pick for him. He may end up turning into something. I'm not saying it's over for him, but he's not a backup quarterback in the NFL right now, and we are 2 weeks away from the start of the season. Literally 10 days from now, we have to make our cuts on the 27th of August. I think that the bottom of our roster is going to be turned. I didn't see enough from Miles Sanders to make this team. He had a couple decent runs. Phil Maffa, I don't want to let go. I love Phil Maffa. Jamal Williams seems to be handed the number 1 job. Jadon Blue still banged up. So my guess is we're going to keep Miles Sanders, Phil Maffa, Javonte Williams, and Jaden Blue, and Hunter Lepke as a fullback. So that means we're going to have to go light somewhere. Everybody else, Deuce Vaughn's going to be cut, maybe brought back to the practice squad. I want to talk about 3 guys. First of all, Damone Clark, I've already was kind of negative on him. I know he had a couple plays, but he also missed a couple plays. He flashed on the practice field, but when it comes to games, he's not all there. Now he had a decent game. And they even commented it on the post game by 105.3 The Fan, Bobby Bell. He said that first play was huge for Damone Clark. Again, Shamar James shows you everything you need to know about how a linebacker is supposed to play the game. Okay. Thumping people downhill. Yes, you don't want Shamar turning his hips and having to drop into coverage. You don't. He's a downhill player. That'll be interesting. The only guy that we have that can do that is we have Maris Leofau, and I really like Jack Sanborn yesterday, filling. Again, he ain't going to win any competitions for being the biggest and fastest. He's just a sound football player who always hits the right gap and tackles the runner. So, again, I am not happy with Damone Clark. I do not want to just keep a guy because he was a draft pick. All right? I don't. He has one more game, but I watch it with one eye open when it comes to Damone Clark. Just a couple other guys I want to talk about. To me, I can't keep both of these next 2 guys. You got Keeman Hall, who had a pick 6. Again, Keeman Hall, local kid, he could be on my practice squad. I don't think he should make the team. Why? I want Zion Childress to play the slot. Deron Bland is going to play on the outside. Obviously, Diggs is not going to be ready at this point. Looks like I'll be paying Wade $100, whatever. It's going to be Zion Childress. If I had to choose, is going to play the slot. Be Zion Childress in the slot. You're going to have Deron Bland on one out. They're already telling you. He's going to play, and Kyer Elam is going to play the other way. They need to go out and get a corner now. If Keeman Hall, he could be on my practice squad. I know he made a play, but it kind of fell on his arms. Again, I like Keeman Hall, but Zion Childress was a draft pick, a little bigger, more physical. And I would go with Zion Childress for the slot. That's just me. We got time to worry about it and talk about it. We got a game on Friday. It's coming up quick. Today's Sunday. So we got 5 days, another game, get it over with. Then we can start doing our predictions and our 53-man roster. There's one guy I want to talk to who had a pick 6 as well. Actually, Keeman Hall didn't have a pick 6. He had the interception. It was a tip ball. The running back was wide open. He couldn't catch. And it was a nice play by Keeman Hall. If I can keep both of them, fine, but they're both kind of on the small side, so I don't know that I can keep both of them. To me, M'Kwamu is on this team. Andrew Booth, he's a guy who every time I watch him, he lines up way too far off the receiver. Andrew Booth had a pick six. Again, it was a ball was thrown right at him. You know, okay, it was kind of reminded me of watching the Eagle game yesterday where Drew Makuba returned it. I mean, it was kind of a thrown right at him. He made the play. It's great. But Andrew Booth had a pick six, made the play. I don't like how he plays. Sorry, I don't. Everybody's Andrew Booth. Every time I look at him, this isn't like top-notch receivers. He's 12 yards off the receiver. You got lucky with that. I mean, you made a good play, Andrew Booth. There was a tip ball, and you made the play. Great. You played too far off the receiver. There's too many balls out to the flat for 7 yards on first down on Andrew Booth. I can't have it. Again, we need the cornerbacks. We cannot go into the season with this dreck. Okay? Listen, I'm going to stand on the hill for my guys when healthy. Diggs obviously ain't ready. Bland looks good. Zion Childress looks good. Kyer Elam is a practice warrior, and in the games, I don't see squat. So I'm concerned about the Kyer Elam, kind of like what he did in Buffalo. But we're going to keep it real here. We're going to give us our honest opinion after the game. This isn't a blanket statement for his career or what he could do. They love him, but he hasn't shown it in a game. He didn't play much, but until he shows it in a game, I'm going to be, looking at it with one eye open. That's just how I'm going to be. I'm just keeping it real. Again, the secondary is my main concern right now. Jay Toia, as I close out this video, Jay Toia had a real good game, okay? He's getting better. He's not in college anymore. He had a real good game. I was happy. Mozzie Smith, Mozzie's Mozzie. There was moments where he got penetration and forced the runner off to the side. Didn't make the play, but again, he was able to flush the runner out, and Jack Sanborn and company flowed. We've had, because we had a half dozen tackles for loss in the running game by our linebackers. It was, that was probably our strongest area, if you ask me, between Shamar James, Jack Sanborn, even Damone Clark at times. But he's just too hit or miss for me. I don't know that he's on my team yet. He's got one more game to prove it to me. But I don't know. Mozzie Smith, Mozzie's going to be on the team. This team is too worried about how it looks to the naked eye rather than, like keeping the best players. Because Mozzie, for me, should be gone. He should be gone, and you should be out there. Why Raekwon Davis is not already on this team, I'll never know. I'll never know. Why David Mulligetta's Christian Wilkins isn't brought in here for at least a conversation. I know he's still injured, but he's a very good defensive player when healthy. He'll be back at some point. Why aren't we doing this? This is my frustration with the Cowboys. Again, it's only a preseason game. There was some better spots for longer periods of time. The final score does not indicate how I thought overall they played, but let's make no mistake. We got to stop making excuses for Joe Milton. He was not good. And we cannot evaluate. And now we lost Mingo. Here we go again? Or are we going to be okay? Put in the comments. I think we're going to be okay. What does okay mean? Okay means we got a talented offense. Tyler Smith didn't play. Tyler Guyton didn't play. We're going with a Nate Thomas, a 7th round Nate Thomas. Tyler Guyton is there to prove people wrong this year. We'll be here to cover it, see if he can. I think Guyton will be back for week 1. I'm hearing he's going to be ramping up this week. We'll see. Terrence Steele didn't play again. So, and we did see positive things from Tyler Booker. So with that being said, final score, Ravens 31, Cowboys 13. My biggest takeaways are I'm concerned for Brian Schottenheimer, and Joe Milton is not a backup quarterback right now. He could be my number 3 and learn until the game slows down for him. But we need to find a backup quarterback. If it's not Will Grier, you better go get one. We need another defensive tackle, and we need one, maybe two corners. A lot of work to do, Jerry. And all you're doing is watching the leaves fall. But all right, everybody, that's it for me. Leave your comments below, and I'll talk to you later. I'll try to do a live stream tonight.